What is smart? Book smarts? Street smarts? IQ? EQ? Can it be tested? Taught? Bought? Now that's not smart. Or is it? Let's expand our minds, people. Smart is her. It's him. And they don't care if you judge them. They're not in pursuit of a fallback career. They're in pursuit of purpose. Smart is crafting your why. It's knowing failure is success in progress. It's picking a college that prepares you for any challenge. It's finding your calling and your place to become. So, what kind of smart are you?
Are you ready? Ready to go? Are you ready? Ready for more? Are you ready?
Hello, Atlanta Broncos. I'm so excited to come to you from Kalamazoo this evening. My name is Kristen DeVries, and when I am not serving as your talk show host, I serve as the Vice President for University Advancement at Western Michigan University. Now, there are nearly 2,000 of you in the Atlanta area, and most of you probably have a background in marketing or mechanical engineering or perhaps aviation, and I'm extra excited about Atlanta right now because Chris Womack, the president of Georgia Power, is a WMU Bronco and is one of this year's Distinguished Alumni Awardees. So on April 13th, please join us for the presentation of the award to Chris Womack. And speaking of distinguished, earlier today, I had the chance to catch up with President Edward Montgomery of Western Michigan University, and we talked about what he loves about Atlanta, what is going on today at Western that's helping to solve the problems that Atlanta is facing, and what's next for WMU. Well, happy Monday, President Montgomery.
Happy Monday.
This evening we will be with our alumni in Atlanta. And I know you have enjoyed Atlanta in the past. It was actually my very first business trip as an adult was to Atlanta, Georgia, and I thought it was just the coolest city. And I still think it's about the coolest city outside of Kalamazoo, perhaps. But tell me about your experience visiting Atlanta.
Well, I've had a number of great experiences in Atlanta. My first was for an annual convention of economists, and you can imagine 3,000 economists running around downtown Atlanta, down by the Omni Center, and that was a wild crowd that was. But I also had a chance to visit on business, visited the Atlanta Fed, and at that point in time, they were the largest center for check processing in the country, and got to tour that facility. Again, maybe something only an economist would love to see is checks being processed, but it was wonderful. So, Atlanta is a vibrant town. It's really dynamic. The airport obviously is legendary, a huge place to get through. As you spend time in the Atlanta airport, you get an appreciation for all of the wonderful pilots and at Delta and United, and our School of Aviation has some great partnerships with each of those companies, with both Delta and Aviation, and so we're happy to play our role in making sure aviation and pilots and people can fly and travel through Atlanta and other places in the country.
So the next time you fly to Atlanta, are you going to be asking the pilot if they're one of our grads?
I always look for a Bronco. That makes me rest easy and feel comfortable when we got a Bronco behind the flying the airplane.
Well, one of the things that I think Atlanta and Kalamazoo have in common is entrepreneurship and leadership in business, be it small business or large business. And of course, at WMU, we have some research and some dynamic faculty now working particularly in the area of entrepreneurship.
Indeed, both regions are places with entrepreneurship and also lots of family businesses. And so West Michigan is renowned for that. So one of the challenges you get with an entrepreneur is starting the company and what does it go into thinking about operating. But for family-owned businesses, you have not only the startup issues, you have how do you pass it from one generation to the next. And so we have a Center for Principled Leadership and Business Strategy run by two hard-charging young faculty members who have brought together a coalition of students from a variety of different majors across the campus to help them think about how do you organize and operate organizations and look for those win-win business transactions. It's not just about profit. It certainly is about profit, but it's not just about profits. How do you find those win-win situations? And that's about thinking about something that's bigger than just the initial bottom line. And so they are working with companies throughout the area to think about their strategies for acquisition, to think about what are the companies to buy into, to think about how do you help them prepare for the next set of thoughts. And so they have set up a database called Acquire. It's a class that gets research and provides the kind of underlying materials you need to think about going into business or being in a field, and how do you think about that company and whether it represents a great opportunity. And our students sit there and work side by side with business people on real world problems and associated with that company. These guys not only, of course, providing opportunities for our students, they're also running a podcast. And so they call it The Jungle. And it's mainly to capture the fact that business and business strategy is constantly changing, evolving. The challenges that you face today are different from yesterday. And so they provide, I had an opportunity to be on that podcast. It's a fun thing. They're getting lots of good business people from around the country. What it represents is our finest efforts to connect our students, our faculty, with the real world on a variety of different fronts. And so hats off to Doug and Doug, as I call them, for this effort.
Well, I know certainly our faculty have focused on teaching the students about both profit and purpose. And at Western, our purpose is, of course, educating students. And during the pandemic, we've had to make some shifts in how we educate our students. But not only that, the pandemic has had even more consequences for students in the K through 12 school system. And certainly in Atlanta, they've had debates about in-person classes versus virtual, just like we have here in Kalamazoo. But at Western, we're even focused on helping those students who may have been disproportionately disadvantaged by the pandemic. Can you tell us about how we're doing that?
Sure. Obviously, there's the short term. How have we made it through this year? How do we help students in our classroom? How are other teachers helping their students in their classroom? But there's some of these unintended or perhaps little talked about consequences of the fact that we haven't had in-person classes. And one of the ways it shows up both nationally and in Atlanta is because students aren't with teachers, then there isn't people who are monitoring whether Billy has a bruise on his arm or Mary's mood is different. Those telltale signs that perhaps something's going on in the home, perhaps abuse is occurring. And what people have found is the reports of child abuse have gone dramatically down, not because child abuse has gone away, but because those people who are often at the front line of looking for those signals, looking for those clues that something's off with young people are teachers. And they're not having that contact. And so we have what we call a resiliency center here at Western Michigan University that is focusing on children, K through 12, young people who have gone through trauma. And that trauma can be abuse. It can come in a variety of other forms as well. And it can be a real barrier to their ability to develop, to thrive, to learn. And so what our Resiliency Center does is try to intervene with young people to try and give them counseling, to try and give them coping skills, to try and find out what the underlying events are, and then begin the process of healing them. And so we got a support from the state government for about $1.5 million through a grant to support these frontline actual working with young people on their cases, as well as preparing the next set of counselors for the future. And so it's another example of how Western is both teaching and preparing the next generation, but also delivering frontline services. our unified clinics, which this is a part of, serve something like 80,000 patient visits a year. And those are everything from hearing and speech issues to OT and PT services. Again, it's ways that we are training the next generation of professionals, but also ways that we continue to serve the community of which we're a part of.
And the Resiliency Center is one thing, but I know there are many other things that have changed and evolved over the last almost 4 years that you've been president at Western. What else is changing?
Well, you know, the campus is changing on a variety of dimensions, both physical and programmatically. On the physical side, those Elmwood apartments that people may remember, generally not fondly, that look like Quonset huts, we've gotten rid of those. We finally said they've passed their life. And other residence halls, Draper and Seesaw, have just recently come down, and we've replaced them with a new state-of-the-art residence hall, Acadia Flats. That residence hall is a 6-story building, which is designed for today's student. It's designed to draw the student out, to be in interactive environments, to be in a technologically configured space so that learning and interactions can happen more readily than in the traditional dorm that maybe we remember perhaps not all that fondly. And so we're trying to develop space not just as a place to lay your head and sleep, but also a place to learn and to build community. And so Arcadia Flats is that next generation of space for the campus as we do the physical transformation. That physical transformation is also in support of, as I said, the learning. How are we doing? What's our core thing? How are we preparing students to be able to thrive in the new environments that we're in? And so we've been changing our core curriculum. Took us a few years to get that, but Western Essential Studies has changed, and so we're changing our programming around what we offer in the classroom and offering new opportunities on that front as well. So the programming in the classroom, the programming outside the classroom, all changing as part of Western. And again, what's the inner goal? What we're trying to do is put together programming so that, one, students can find their passion, their purpose, find that job, find that career, find the thing that excites them, makes them want to get up every day, build strength so that they can go over those inevitable life hurdles and bumps and bruises, and so they are more resilient, so they have their talent, and then they have resiliency, and prepare them for a life well lived. Life well lived means, one, having both a career that's successful, but also that other part of your life where your passions can show up so that you're in a position to be able to thrive as a citizen of a country as well.
That was a pretty good advertisement for Western. But as you know, our alumni are certainly among our best advocates in recruiting future Broncos. And as both the president of the university and the parent of an alum, how would you love to hear our current alumni speaking to those prospective students about what's so great about Western?
You know, I think our alums have an insight because they've gone through that Western experience. They've discovered for themselves that special sauce. When you talk to alums, 94% of them say they found faculty members who cared about them personally, not just professionally, not just intellectually, but cared about them personally. That person provided the door opening. Sometimes they provided a hand up, sometimes they provided a push, but that care coupled with the teaching of the skills helped catapult them to a new place in their lives. Western does a remarkable job as a result. We are about 92%, 93% of our students find a job within a short period of time. 90% of them are in their majors. 88% of them like those jobs. They take that experience, they take that hand up and are prepared to launch into the world with incredible success. We've got to do more. We want to do more. We're continuing to now try and build out how do we get more connectivity between students and their passions, between students and their opportunities, because we know that students change careers, they change occupations, they may not know what they want to do, and that's what we're trying to do at Western. So we're building on what we've always done well, that connectivity, that care, that holistic approach to people, and now adding additional flexibilities and additional connectivity.
Any last words for our Atlanta alumni this evening?
Well, it's always a great day to be a Bronco.
Go Broncos! Every year we are so excited to welcome new Broncos coming to us from the Atlanta area. And one of those Broncos who is with us now is Sam. Sam graduated from George Walton High School in Marietta, Georgia. And he is thankfully helping our Michiganders understand some preferable language choices like the word y'all. Here's Sam.
I'm Sam Orjou, and I'm a senior at Western Michigan University's College of Aviation Maintenance. I'm from Marietta, Georgia in metro Atlanta, and I went to George Walton High School in Marietta. I had good friends. I played rugby at my school, which was really cool. I had a great time. And I was really into aviation and local aviation, especially in the metro Atlanta airports. We have a lot of great airports with great people at them. I originally wanted to be a pilot, and monetary problems aside of being a pilot, you know, just working with my hands. I was already a handy person. I knew machines, you know, but these guys at the airport, they really showed me that airplanes could be taken down to like the bare bones and really be fixed like right here, you know, and that was really cool to me. I do want to add though that, you know, going to Georgia, there's a lot of Chick-fil-A's. Coming here, there was no Chick-fil-A's. Now we have 2 in Kalamazoo. So look at that. There's a new one right next to campus. So like, yeah, taste of home right there. How I originally discovered Western Michigan University, my grandma and grandpa, they were like, you need to start touring some colleges, you know? So I came to Western Michigan when I was 15. I did not in a million years, you know, we toured the campus, we toured the aviation campus, and you know, I was a sophomore in high school, junior in high school, and I was like, there's no way, you know, why am I even here? And I think about that a lot, that I'm like walking around the same places we were walking on that tour around campus, you know, I'm like, God, you know, why am I here? But then you never know where it's going to take you seriously, like never in a million years would I have thought I would come here. The biggest factor was that I have a family friend that was an alumni here, Joe 11. Yep, he graduated and he went on to join the Navy, fly airplanes in the Navy, F-18. So that's the coolest. And when it came time to look for colleges, you know, I wanted to be an aircraft mechanic. That's what I wanted to do. So I'm looking at aviation maintenance, and it turns out Western is one of the best in the country. So yeah, I made the move. I'm like, I'm going to just go up and do something completely different. We have super great lab equipment. We have a Boeing 727 airliner. We regularly run airplanes there, so it's a blast, and the professors really do a lot out of their own time to help it go through because they really love it. We have career fairs in aviation, the College of Aviation. That's a super big one where the entire college gets together in our main hangar, and companies are there. The National Guard's there, U.S. Border Control. They're all there. You know, Boeing, General Electric. Delta does have a tech ops program with our College of Aviation, so there is a gateway for jobs there for students, which is super cool, and I might consider, you know, going into graduation here. Kalamazoo, to me, it's fun. You know, there's a lot of trades here, which really, I feel like trades in maybe where I grew up were kind of hidden, you know what I'm saying? But here, seriously, life is really built around blue-collar jobs, trades. People are friendly here in West Michigan, and just the way people talk and just little things like that, you know, it's definitely something to get used to that you definitely notice and point out to all your friends, like, oh, you just said, you know, window or wash rag, you know, something like that. It's like, huh. But I also say y'all all the time, you know, so I'm really happy. Actually, looking back, like, I'm glad I made the decision to go out and do something different, you know. The opportunities are out there, and I've learned that I had a lot of fun taking this big risk. I definitely see myself owning my own aviation maintenance FBO, definitely. I want to thank specifically my professors at the College of Aviation Maintenance that I've worked with recently that have helped me through some of my extra personal issues outside of school that were starting to creep inside the school. They were really understanding. You know, this is true. This is kind of going, you know, into it, but I would like to say thank you to them because what they did for me really means a lot to me. I do realize that I'm living in some of the best years of my life right now here at Western. Definitely having a great time, meeting awesome people, and I do not look forward to the day when that comes, when I have to leave this place and go fend for myself in the world.
At Western Michigan University, we are focused every single day on helping students like Sam be successful. But we're also focused on helping alumni continue that success long after graduation. And here to speak with you next is Sarah Husain, the president of the WMU Alumni Association. And while Sarah does live in Kalamazoo now, she spent many years more than 1,000 miles away, just like all of you, so she can definitely help you with learning how to connect and how to stay engaged with your university, with your fellow alumni, and with other students. Sarah?
Greetings from Kalamazoo, fellow Broncos. I'm Sarah Husain, president of the WMU Alumni Association. Thank you for welcoming me into your home tonight. I was born and raised in Kalamazoo, so this is my home. During high school, I took a campus tour of Western and fell in love with all that the school had to offer. As a business student, I had the opportunity to do an internship at Stryker Corporation at their Kalamazoo headquarters. After I graduated, that internship led to a full-time role at Stryker and eventually a job at Apple in San Jose, California. After spending the last 7 years in the Bay Area, I just moved back to Kalamazoo last year with my husband and daughter for a new role I took at Stryker. Whether here or on the West Coast, Western has always had a special place in my heart. Like many of you, WMU is where I studied and launched my career. It is the place where I learned the ins and outs of the classroom, and it's also the place where I developed lifelong friendships. It was these friendships with my fellow Broncos that have kept me connected to Western all these years later. As an alumni ambassador, I love sending postcards to the incoming freshman class each year, welcoming them to campus. I also have had the pleasure to be a guest judge for the WMU Medallion Scholarship Competition. And by staying connected to Western, I have the privilege of mentoring several students and young alumni, which has been an amazingly rewarding experience watching students develop into the next generation's future leaders. As alumni, we are part of a community of over 250,000 Broncos who call WMU their alma mater. Together, we are the WMU Alumni Association. A year ago, the association conducted a survey of our members. We have used the results of this survey to develop and offer new ways for our alumni to stay connected. First, many of you are participating in the WMU Alumni Book Club. Together, we are reading and discussing our 5th book using our specially developed online platform. Second, this past year, we launched the Campus Chat series. These Zoom meetings reunite alumni with some of their favorite campus faculty and staff for a casual conversation. Our next Campus Chat is March 24th, featuring Mark Delory, the former Director of Financial Aid. We've also scheduled a chat on April 15th with Diane Anderson, Vice President of our Student Affairs. For over 2 decades, Diane has been a champion for students, working tirelessly to ensure that each student at WMU has a chance to succeed. We're excited to have an informal conversation with both Mark and Diane in the coming weeks, and we look forward to your participation. Third, we plan to launch an oral history project to collect and preserve your Bronco story. Be on the lookout for more information for this project in the coming months. And finally, we are looking forward to our first ever WMU Alumni Spirit Week in April. Please mark your calendars and join us for a jam-packed week full of fun Bronco events starting on April 11th. During the Alumni Spirit Week, we will debut this year's Distinguished Alumni Award recipients. We will also host several virtual reunion gatherings, and we will raise funds for student scholarships during WMU's Giving Day. For more information about our Alumni Spirit Week and all the other incredible networking opportunities and events our Alumni Association has to offer, please visit our website, wmualumni.org. That's wmualumni.org. So, my fellow Broncos, I want to thank you for your dedication to Western. As members of the WMU Alumni Association, You are part of a global network of Broncos who are connected through our shared experiences as WMU students. Even if you haven't stayed involved in the past, I want you to know that the WMU Alumni Association is here for you to connect to Western and to the rest of your Bronco family. You are important to us, and we really hope you'll stay in touch. Have a wonderful night, and don't forget, it's always a great day to be a Bronco.
Hello again, Broncos. What would a nighttime talk show be without a musical performance? And now, coming to you from the world-renowned College of Fine Arts, are McKenna Plath and Kevin O'Neill performing Yours, Yours, Yours from the musical 1776, proving that even as students in the middle of a pandemic, the show must go on.
I live like a nun in a cloister, solitary, celibate, I hate it. And you, John?
I live like a monk in an abbey, ditto, ditto, I hate it.
Write to me with sentimental effusion. Let me revel in romantic illusion.
Do you still smell of vanilla and spring air? And is my favorite lover's pillow still firm and fair?
What was there, John? Still is there, John. Come soon as you can to my cloister. I've forgotten the feel of your hand.
Soon, madam, we shall walk in Cupid's grove together. We'll fondly survey that promised land. Till then, I am as I ever was and ever shall be. Yours, 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 yours.
Thank you so much for joining me tonight. I would love to know what you thought of our event this evening. If you have something you'd like to know more about, suggestions for how we can improve, or would just like some more information about how Western is doing today, I'd be happy to share that with you. Send me an email. I'm at kristen.devries@wmich.edu, or you can always log on to wmualumni.org. While you're composing that email to me, we're going to let you go this evening with a performance by faculty of our School of Music. Here's the Western Jazz Collective with Kevin Jones on percussion.
What is smart? Book smarts? Street smarts? IQ? EQ? Can it be tested? Taught? Bought? Now that's not smart. Or is it? Let's expand our minds, people. Smart is her. It's him. And they don't care if you judge them. They're not in pursuit of a fallback career. They're in pursuit of purpose. Smart is crafting your why. It's knowing failure is success in progress. It's picking a college that prepares you for any challenge. It's finding your calling and your place to become. So, what kind of smart are you?